So I know I'm pretty late to the party, but I had to make my own list of my top favorite movies of the year. And yeah, here we are. But still, I have to say that unfortunately I haven't been able to see some of the movies because they're still not available here in Italy. But first things first, I'm gonna begin with some special mentions. Some movies that I enjoyed, but they just didn't make it to my top 10. And yeah, grab yourself that cup of tea or the mug of tea. The bigger the better, because this one's gonna be a long one. Now, my special mentions, in no particular order, are Oppenheimer, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Barbie, The Killer, Anatomy of a Fall, Napoleon, and Wonka. And I know that by now some of these movies are Golden Globe winners, and they're also nominees and winners of other awards, but they just didn't cut it for me. That's the thing. And these are just my personal opinion. And again, liking or disliking a movie is a very subjective and personal matter, in my opinion. And now, here's my top 10. Beginning from number 10, it is, drum rolls, it's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Although I guess they have cut the Part 1 out, so it's just Dead Reckoning. I don't know, but that's my number 10. So this is my fave action film of the year of 2023. And why John Wick 4 isn't? I mean, I enjoyed John Wick 4, but I didn't enjoy how it ended, and I think the movie dragged a bit and it had pacing issues. On the other hand, Mission Impossible didn't have that issue. The only issue that I had with the Mission Impossible, without spoiling anything, is how it treated the female characters, especially Elsa Faust. I really didn't like how it went for her. So that's why it's a big deal for me. So that's why it's number 10. Other than that, the movie was absolutely amazing. And number 9, I have put A Hunting in Venice as my number 9. Now, I know no one went to see this film in the theaters or in cinema. I did, and I loved it. I loved the experience of going to watch that movie in the cinema. It was amazing, and I loved that film. I loved the mystery and how it unfolded. I loved how Kenneth Branagh directed the film, and to be honest, I really like his style of directing. I also enjoyed his portrayal of Hercule Poirot, and this comes from someone who has watched the classic British TV series of the character. Now, unfortunately, not all of the performances were as good as Branagh's, and there were some horror elements and sequences that didn't quite work out. But all in all, the movie is very good, and I highly recommend it. At number 8, it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Yeah, there's a Marvel movie on my list. And you may say that I'm a little biased. Yeah, there are also other posters. Anyway, to me, this movie was a blast. It had everything that I needed to see in a film. Emotions, amazing action sequences, artistic visuals, good CG, very good performances and voice performances as well. Really awesome music. Really cool stuff, everything that I wanted. Although there are some issues, I don't say that the movie is perfect, I'm just saying that it had all the elements that I wanted it to have. The very few things that really bugged me were the interactions between Cosmo and Kraglin. It just really bothered me, and at some point it kind of seemed to me like a sort of abusive to me, so that really bugged me out. And the other things were some of the cameos that really distracted me from the story. But other than that, the movie was amazing. At number 7, there's the movie that holds back no punches emotionally, and it's Past Lives. Yeah, this movie destroyed me emotionally, like totally. It punches you into your gut, and again, it totally destroys you. It's beautiful and it's emotional and it's poetic. And what's not to love about that? Next up at number 6, I have put Bottoms. Yeah, I love that film. It's queer and it's fun. What's really not to like about it? I laughed out loud many times and I understood the characters. I understood where they come from. I understood their emotions, the logic. And it was like, I absolutely loved this film because of its characters. I think there were some moments and some points that this movie was kind of similar to Barbie, like in terms of giving a message, trying to deliver a message. And I think this movie delivered it better than Barbie. Yeah, here comes the comments. And negativity, probably. Anyways, I know this movie is smaller than Barbie, but I think that in delivering those messages, this movie worked better because to me it seemed smarter and wittier, and that's why, in my opinion, this movie worked better. At number 5, there's The Boy and the Heron. Why isn't it my number 1? Because the first half is really good, and then the second half, the script falls apart, in my opinion. It's not consistent, and it's just maybe a lot of stuff happening all at the same time, and at times you have difficulty to follow the storyline. But other than that, I would say that artistically and visually, it's still a masterpiece, and the music is just otherworldly. At number 4, there's the movie that I cried with and I laughed with, and it's The Holdovers. I love that film, and I had so many emotions watching that movie. I think the whole cast was brilliant. I think the directing, the screenwriting, editing, and also music, they all just worked out so well, and all the choices were absolutely on point, in my opinion. But yes, it's a sad film, but who doesn't love a good cry? Because I love a good cry. Here's my number 3, and here's my favorite non-English language film, The Promised Land. Now, the story's thrilling, and how everything just unfolds is just spectacular and brilliant to watch. And Mads Mikkelsen's performance is just chef's kiss. It deserves at least an Oscar nom. Like, come on, guys. And there was a race between my number 1 and number 2. And so it's a very close one. But my number 2 is Nimona. This is criminally underrated. I cannot believe you people. Like, how no one watched it, no one talked about it, no one cared about it. And I really cannot understand that. Nimona is the perfect representation of queer characters without the queerness being the center of the story. And I just love that. I just loved how they did it. It has amazing action sequences, a unique art style, and the music is just so upbeat. And there are some action sequences which are even better than the ones that we see in the live action movies nowadays. But again, it was a really close one between this one and my number 1. Yeah, you might have guessed it. My number 1 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Told you, it was a close one between this and Nimona. You might be thinking I'm a bit biased towards animation. It's correct, I am. I have 3 animations on my list, and all 3 are in top 5. Now, I know that Across the Spider-Verse isn't complete yet, and still, when you watch it, it's totally fine. Like the screenplay, the script seems complete to me. Everything works. The style, the script, the soundtrack, the voice acting, just everything comes together like cells of a body coming together and shaping the perfect work of art. That's what it is. So yeah, this was my top 10 most favorite movies of 2023. And I know that it's not that sort of a list that you've been probably seeing everywhere, because I have put some stuff that others have not included. And then I have not included many movies that many others have included. So yeah, it might be a bit irregular, my list. But I love these movies the most, and I try to put movies on my list from all the genres. But if you're still here, thank you for watching, and let me know down in the comments what was your favorite movie of the 2023, or just type down your top 10 list. Anyway, just let me know, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other videos. Till the next time, grab that tea, and we'll see each other in the next video. Bye.